Hi, everyone, and welcome to this live sending. Today, my name is Julie, and today I wanted to talk a little bit about personal will and preferences. And I have spoken about this topic before, but I want to share a little bit more about what I experience that happens when we go through an awakening. And we learn to see that desire in Buddhism, they talk about desire and aversion, right? And this is the the mind game, the ego game, right? It tries to avoid certain things and it tries to obtain certain things. And the things that when we wake up, we realize that we nothing can give us more than what we already have, right? However, the mind seeking, the mental seeking for anything, like for enlightenment or for liberation, for peace, for a future. The mind seeks for relationships and money and all the things we want to manifest. None of that is wrong in itself, but when we wake up, at least in my experience, everything comes from within. So it's not so much about the mental wanting something, is more about, or that starts to feel really uncomfortable to want to be somewhere you're not, to try to create a fantasy in here to get somewhere else than what you are. It feels more and more like resistance. It feels more and more uncomfortable. And however, it feels more and more right to move from the right energy within. And if you live from the right energy within, which in my experience is authenticity, it's unconditional love, or just natural enjoyment. When you move from the right state, right, or not the right, but when you move from your true nature, I would say, when you move from your true nature and you navigate life from there, it doesn't really matter what happens. And it doesn't matter that, I mean, it doesn't mean that you, of course, you don't want to get like in a car accident or something that's like really hurtful or dangerous. Of course, you still have that sort of, I guess, like primal instinct of survival and stuff like that. It's more like you don't need reality or life to turn out a certain way. Because I think it's John Kabat-Zinn, and he has a book that's called "Wherever You Go, There You Are" or something like that. And it's so right, it's so true. Like no matter where I go, there I am. So there's nowhere I can get because I'm already here. And oh, oops. Okay, sorry. So there's nowhere else. Life is always changing and life is always moving. And I would say liberation is not to try to get somewhere where life will be perfect, because that moment, maybe there will be a moment like that, but it will go away and then life will be uncomfortable again in some way, right? Because it all changes. It like life is always changing. And when you sort of need life to be a certain way for you to be happy, that's when you suffer, because life is not always how you want it to be. And the suffering comes from a deeper place. It comes from the sense of separation. And the mind plays this illusion that when you get what you want, then you won't suffer anymore. And I saw this in my early stages of awakening, that wherever I go, there I am. Like no matter what happened, I can't, doesn't really matter in the end, because life is like a movie that you never watched before. If you can go through life with curiosity and not that sense of attachment to ideas, because the goals and the dreams, there are dreams, they're thoughts, right? And there's nothing wrong about following your passion, but it's more about what can you enjoy right now. And the future goal, it doesn't become so important anymore. It just loses its hold on you, because there's no future. It's now. If you can't enjoy it now, then you're not going to be able to enjoy it in the future either. or the future will be just as fleeing as the moment right now. So you might as well practice presence right away and learn to enjoy the present moment right away. And so I would say that moving from needing to force your will on life and moving more into curiosity about what life presents right here, right now. And you replace like the control and the need to make it your way into surrender into what is. And it can be really, really uncomfortable and a huge change for the ego, right? Because it wants certain things, and I get it, you know. It's just that on the other side of that fear, right, the fear of many people is that they never get what they wanted, so they will end up being failures, right? That's a mental construct, because life is just happening, and in some points in life you feel like you win because you got what you wanted, and another moment in life you feel like you lose because you lost something, right? Or you didn't get what you wanted. And true liberation is just to surrender to what is and be able to enjoy life's ups and downs, because your true nature is untouched no matter what happens. And it's really curious too about um, the pain. It's curious about the duality of positive and negative. It wants to learn, and it has to learn through both polarities. It has to learn through failures and not getting what you want and losing control, and the opposite as well. So I guess the more you surrender, the less you care, and the less you are able to be a child again and just face life with wonder and curiosity in the present moment, because you realize that there's nothing else going on anyway. Everything else is just going on in the mind, and you can take action towards something, but it doesn't make sense to sacrifice the present moment for a future goal. If you can't enjoy it now, what you're doing, then you can't enjoy it in the future either. That's my experience, and I believe that to be true. So it becomes just about living life and enjoying life and being okay and accept what happens, and trust, I guess, because you will always have your true nature. Like nothing can ever be touched, really. They're all appearances, they come and go. And when you let go of the stories attached to the appearances, the stories in the mind, when you let go of that and you face the emotions behind, then I would say it's a huge relief, because you can move through life in a much more moment for moment. It's like every moment is a bonus. Like you're already dead, and every moment is just an extra bonus, right? Um, and it becomes a mystery because you don't know what's around the next corner, and you're curious, and you want life to show you instead of needing life to be a certain way, because that's actually rooted in fear, and the ego is rooted in fear, right? It tries to protect you, and it runs and escapes into the mind and into dreams and aspirations to fix the problem of now. Okay, at least that was my what my mind has been doing a lot, and I think that will resonate with many people, because there's a collective mind and we share that mind. So most people, we struggle with the same things, maybe at different times, in our life. And sometimes, I would say that some people struggle more in this or on that, but you're never alone in your suffering. You're never alone in your struggles, because we all have it. Some people are more aware of it, especially if they have gone through an awakening. But we're all trying to figure this out, right? So no one really has it all together. I don't think that's possible. But the more you can be okay with that mess, the more you can be okay with that imperfection, the more beautiful life become, and the less you need it to be perfect, I guess. So God, or your true nature, or the source, is everywhere, and it is everything, and it is in everything. So there's nowhere source can be, because it's already everywhere. And if you are source, there's actually nowhere you can't be. There's nothing you can't handle. There's nothing in your own creation at the highest level that you cannot face. So everything will be okay. And yeah, your true nature is never untouched. It's always untouched, no matter what happens on the outside. Um, so I guess waking up and moving through life is not so much about the future, but it's more about living from the right place, right here, right now, and facing every moment with curiosity, even when unconsciousness comes up, when a reaction comes up, when situation presents themselves that we don't like, that we resist, like something makes us angry, something makes us sad, or feel ashamed. That's perfectly normal. And we just touch upon more and more of that unconsciousness, and more layers of it presents itself to us. And that's a layer of the false self that we integrate in the emotion body. And it's just, I guess it's about just facing that, and then becoming comfortable with that, and moving through life with curiosity, and learning to integrate your emotions. And if you want to learn more about that, then check out my services in the description below. And you can also watch my free masterclass that I also have in the description below. And please subscribe and like and leave a comment below if you are going through an awakening and you are also experiencing this change in preferences and change in way of moving through life, and seeing that it's not about the future or goals. It's not about getting what you want. It's more about leaning into life and the present moment. And until next time, much love and namaste.